Hi, Tony DeWitt here, Missouri appellate attorney and a guy who likes to make the law make sense on YouTube. Before we get going too far, I want to preface my video here with this little proviso. And that is that this is not about any comments that have been made on this channel. This is about some comments that I've seen on other channels where people are less respectful. And I think a lot of times people don't recognize what the dangers are when they comment in a public forum, whether it's here or Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else. When you say things that are not based on fact, you can be in trouble. So I just wanted to get that out up front. After I put this video together, I realized I probably should have said that up front. So now I've moved it up front and we're ready to go. Lots of people fail to understand that there is a difference between opinion and fact. Suppose I say that Brian Kohberger is a pedophile. Am I saying that as a fact or am I saying that as an opinion? Now, if I have no basis for that statement, as I do not, and I obviously am not making that statement as fact, I am making that statement as an example of something that someone could say, just so anybody who represents him doesn't get their knickers in a twist over it. But the bottom line is, if you make a distinction between fact and opinion, then fact is something that could potentially be proved or that you have the ability to prove. Now, a lot of times people will say things like, I know for a fact that, and they may very well know for a fact that that's the case. But if you just make a statement about something without qualifying it, it can be considered either a fact or an opinion, and it's depending on how it is characterized in the law as to whether you have made a statement that might potentially be defamatory. Now, why do I bring this up? I recently saw this video up here. This video was put out by a guy who does a lot of GMRS radio reviews, I guess would be the way to say it. He's quite the funny guy, and he always has funny things to say, and I enjoy watching him. I don't always agree with him, but I do enjoy watching him, and I like the way that he pokes fun at people in the ham radio community because I'm in that community. Because you see, I have a sense of humor, so I can tolerate a little jab now and then, and I get jabs here all the time. Now, on my channel, if you do something that is grotesque, like use profanity or accuse me of something that you have absolutely no way of proving, I'm not going to go track you down and sue you. I am simply going to hide you from the channel so that you are not going to bother any of the other good people who come here to learn something about the law. But a lot of people don't seem to follow that protocol, and a lot of people leave those things up, and one of these days what's going to happen is somebody's going to say something on a channel and they're going to get sued for defamation. So if you have something to say about a person, it's always good to phrase it as an opinion. In my opinion, Tony DeWitt is a jerk, right? Or in my opinion, somebody else did something bad. But make sure that you categorize it as an opinion, because opinions are First Amendment protected. If you assert something as a fact, particularly something odious like Joe Blow is a criminal, those are the kinds of things that tend to get people sued. And just because you stick it in a comment on a YouTube channel and you have some anonymous profile here and you never post any videos, and your Gmail account is blinded in some way so that you think people can't track you down, that's not the way the internet works. What goes on the internet is usually there forever, and if you post something on a video, the likelihood is that you can be found. It's never a good idea to say things about a person in a way that could be construed as factual. If you're asserting opinion, assert it. In my humble opinion, whatever follows that is probably protected. If you have actual facts to back something up, like a record of conviction, for example, or an opinion, a court opinion that says something. Well, that's a little different. If you're basing it on a public document that is reported like a court opinion, you're probably not going to be in trouble unless you take it further than the opinion goes, than the court opinion goes, obviously. To make this more plain, let's look at the elements of defamation. A plaintiff has to show these things in order to be able to prevail. The statement has to be false. It has to be purported to be a fact. It has to be published or communicated to a third person. They have to know that the statement is false, or they have to act in reckless disregard of the truth or falsity of the statement. And finally, there have to be some damages, usually damages to reputation, loss of jobs, something like that. But in many cases, even a $1 defamation verdict is enough to ruin the day of the person who gets hit with it. It's just a good idea to keep those kinds of things to yourself. Now, on my channel, I don't mind if people disagree with me. People disagreed with me about the Adelsons, and particularly about Wendy Adelson. And I'm fine with that. I learned a lot. I did not live, sleep, and breathe the whole Adelson affair in Tallahassee, but a lot of those folks did. And a lot of those folks knew things that I didn't. And when you don't know something and somebody tells you information that, is true, you absolutely have a right to do that on this channel, to tell me what I don't know. But you don't have a right to defame somebody or say something that has no factual basis. So you need to be careful about that. Now, I have no way of determining whether or not you have a factual basis for what you say, unless you're talking about me, and I'm pretty sure I know me pretty well, but I think it's really important to realize that sometimes when you cross the line and go a little bit too far, you could potentially be held liable later on. Now, a lot of people have said a lot of things about Wendy Adelson and have alleged that she is involved in the murders of her ex-husband. I don't know whether that's true or whether that's false, but it is dangerous talk, because until such time as a jury convicts her of that or the DA charges her with that, that's probably not a very wise thing to say. Not because it may not be true, because it may very well be true. I wouldn't know. But if it turns out not to be true, or it turns out that they never charge her, she is going to have a potential cause of action against you for defamation. Now, will she bring it? Probably not. But if she does, do you have the money to defend it? And by the way, defamation is an intentional act. It's an intentional tort. While your house insurance will generally cover you for liability for negligent torts, if somebody slips on ice in front of your house or somebody falls down your stairs, those are the kinds of things you're insured for. An intentional act is usually prevented by the intentional act exclusion. And writing something defamatory on a YouTube comment line is indeed an intentional act, and your insurance is not going to be any good. As a result of that, I just think it's important for people to understand that defamation does have teeth. Now, it's one of the hardest torts to prove, but the fact that it's hard to prove and someone might not actually prevail is not going to keep you from having to spend $25,000, $50,000 trying to defend that claim. So, with that understanding, here are the rules on my channel. You can feel free to disagree with me about anything, and you can feel free to tell me facts that I don't know. It'd be really good if you had sources to cite to those facts, because that helps me and it improves my understanding. But if you don't, you need to be careful about what you say, because it could get you in trouble. And I'm not going to remove somebody's comment here because I disagree with them. I'm not going to remove a comment here because somebody says something that reflects an opinion that they think I'm stupid. I mean, you can have that opinion if you want. Nobody can tell you how to think. But what I will do is I will remove comments that are profane, and I will remove comments that could potentially lead other people astray. Some of my earlier videos dealing with sovereign citizens, I had a whole bunch of people post stuff on those videos that essentially said, I've done this and I've gotten away with it. And that's nonsense. They haven't. but they want to make people who believe in that sovereign citizen religion feel very at home with it right up until the time that the police snap on the handcuffs. So that's why I do what I do. Now, if you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments down below or email me. Either one of those, I'd be happy to answer them. Other than that, not too much going on today. We had bad storms down here in the south. It knocked out our power and internet till about 10 o'clock this morning. And as a result, I didn't get these videos up the way that I thought I would. But thank you very much for watching. And if you have the opportunity today, do something nice for someone and catch me down here at the beach tomorrow. If you like this video, here are a few others you might try, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a terrific day, guys.